Hello, all. My name is Miss Harvey, and I want to tell you about this course that we're going to be offering at Parkview next year called Women's Studies, where we're going to look at the stories and perspectives of women throughout U.S. history. So, the class is going to really try to challenge your traditional narrative on women's experiences by looking at their experiences as we go through the course of U.S. history. It's a one semester class we're going to be offering to all 10th through 12th grade students, looking at how gender intersects with race, class, culture, and power over time. We're going to be mixing in history, psychology, sociology, and literature, which is awesome for anyone that's more of a humanities mindset. We'll be doing this through discussions, videos, debates, case studies, and hands on projects looking at women's contributions and breakthroughs across the eras of U.S. history. Some of the topics we'll be looking at, we'll be starting with colonization and revolution, moving into the 19th century, then diving into the suffragette and the progressive era period, then into the 20th century, and finishing it out with contemporary issues and global feminism. Again, all going through the lens of U.S. history. In our first unit, we're going to look at the women who really shaped early America, starting with Native American, African, and European women, and how their worlds collide and how they react to this early America. We'll start off with looking at some interesting topics like witchcraft and hidden political voices. We'll see women who are writers, spies, soldiers, revolutionaries. We'll look at a lot of different women, some that you may have heard of, like Abigail Adams, and then some others that you may have no idea that we'll get a chance to explore in a little more depth. In our second unit, we'll look at women as reformists, looking to reform areas in places like abolition, education, the temperance movement, prison reform, and mental health reform. We'll look at immigrant women. We'll look at women in factories like the Lowell Mill girls and the changes they were able to make, the Seneca Falls Convention and the birth of organized feminism. We'll look again at more women in more depth, like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth, and then others that you may not have heard of, such as the Grimke sisters. But again, intersecting with gender, race, and class. In our third unit, we'll dive more into the suffragettes and the progressive era, mostly focusing on the fight for the right to vote, where women are demanding safer workplaces, fairer wages. We'll talk about Margaret Sanger, which was really, she was starting to spark a lot of conversations around reproductive rights. And then also looking at some of the backlash against some of these struggles and these fights in the anti-suffrage movement, and eventually leading to the 19th Amendment. We'll then dive into the 1900s, looking at flappers to factory workers. We'll talk about World War II and how that truly transformed gender roles, looking at, of course, propaganda like Rosie the Riveter, diving further into the feminist movement later on in the century with workplace rights. We'll look at the ERA and reproductive rights. Then we'll dive into the civil rights era with leaders like Fannie Lou Hamer and Dolores Huerta, reshaping activism, and then getting into the end of the century with women breaking barriers in politics, STEM, sports, media, and pop culture. Finally, in our last unit, we'll look at women fighting for rights all across the world, looking at major movements like the Me Too movement, the 2016 Women's March, cultural norms, major issues such as trafficking, access to education and healthcare, women leading revolutions in government and scientific breakthroughs, and looking at women in the digital age. So that's all of what we'll talk about, and there's so much more within each of those units. If you're interested, please contact me, Miss Harvey. I'm in room 15.121 in the back of the EF building. You can also email me at the emails I have listed below. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing some of you in the class.